If you notice any of these 7 symptoms, you may be a few days away from suffering a heart attack and should seek a cardiologist as soon as possible because time spent is heart lost. To say I am surprised is an understatement. I am frightened. In the last 10 years, heart attacks or infarctions have been increasing, and they occur more and more in people under 40 years of age and in women. I am a health professional, and I want us to discuss together why heart attacks are increasing and why they are occurring more and more in young people, both men and women, or even in those who seem to have no previous heart problems and when you least expect them. Today, I am going to reveal it to you. But I also want to know your opinion. Look, according to the international authorities, cardiovascular diseases claim more than 17 million lives a year. This is equivalent to more than 30 people dying every minute. Not even cancer and traffic accidents cause so much damage. The problem is that these diseases are silent. We realize it when it is already too late. And this happens because people are not told about the 7 warning signs that occur in your body before you have a heart attack. Sometimes a month, sometimes days before. And today, I'm going to teach you how to recognize them. Many people call this pre-heart attack or silent heart attack. And at the end of the video, I'll also tell you what's causing heart attacks in people under 40. So why do heart attacks occur? The heart pumps blood with nutrients and oxygen to the whole body, including the heart muscle itself. The coronary arteries are those in its wall, in charge of carrying blood to the heart itself. A heart attack, also called coronary syndrome, occurs when the blood flow in these arteries is blocked. And that can be caused by having the arteries clogged with cholesterol, calcium, inflammation in its wall, which prevents the blood from flowing freely. The main cause of this is atherosclerosis. The problem is that atherosclerosis is a silent threat. It's like a plaque of cholesterol and inflammation that keeps growing in your artery, blocking blood flow. And it does it slowly. It takes years to block it completely and cause heart attacks or sudden death. But in some cases, even without a complete blockage of the artery, the plaque ruptures because it is very soft due to inflammation in its wall, and when it ruptures, a blood clot forms on it, which ends up blocking the entire artery and causing the infarction. Now, before this happens, you may have signs or symptoms of pre-infarction, which is a condition where the lack of blood and oxygen to your heart was not so severe. There was no time for the death of a part of your heart muscle to occur, but it may happen in the next few days. And when do these symptoms appear? This can occur when you get stressed, have a fright, have an argument during a very strenuous physical effort, lack of sleep or bad sleep, or any situation that accelerates the heart a lot. But it can occur at any time of the day. And pay attention, pre-infarction does not always give obvious symptoms. That is, it does not always hurt the chest. There are discomforts that you may feel and think it is something else. So the first thing I ask you is not to ignore what I am going to tell you now. Your health depends on it. Let's look at the 7 warning signs that occur before having a heart attack. The first one is very common in women and in older people. Digestive discomfort, stomach pain that looks like gastritis but is not, stomach swelling during or after eating. Even stomach pain when walking or exerting yourself should make you think it is your heart, especially if you have risk factors. And the main risk factors for having a heart attack are those that produce atherosclerosis, being over 50 years old, but they can occur at any age, especially nowadays. So I'm going to tell you also having diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity or excess visceral fat, smoking or smoking in your home. In my practice, when I visit patients who have had a heart attack, they tell me that the symptoms started days before as a burning or pressure in the stomach and thinking it was gastritis. They took antacids or meprisol, but they did not get better. So keep this in mind, because if you detect it in time, you can save your heart. Second symptom. Attention here. 70% of women who have had a heart attack report having had fatigue or shortness of breath the days before, sometimes hours before. Similar to a flu-like condition, but without cough, fever, or sore throat. This should get your attention. It is like extreme weakness or muscle fatigue. So, if within the last 30 days you began to feel shortness of breath when walking a block, climbing stairs, or a disproportionate fatigue to the effort you are making, you should think that you may have clogged arteries even if your chest does not hurt. But how do you know if that shortness of breath or fatigue is really from the heart and not simply from lack of physical activity, anemia, bronchitis, or any other lung problem? Well, you should suspect the threat of infarction or silent infarction in two situations. First, when you notice that this symptom worsened in the last days or weeks, and especially when you didn't have it before. Two, and most importantly, when you have these risk factors and they are accompanied by the other symptoms that I am going to tell you about now. Symptom number 3, pain in the jaw. Be careful here. Just like when your leg tingles, it may be because your spine is in trouble, or when your shoulder hurts, it may be because you have a gallbladder or liver problem. When your jaw hurts, especially on the left side, it may be that the problem is in your heart and a heart attack is threatening to occur. This happens because when we are forming at the beginning of our lives in the womb, our organs carry with them nerves that come from other parts of the body. Then, as adults, our brain confuses where the painful stimulus is coming from. For example, your heart is in pain, but the brain interprets the problem as being in the jaw. This is something very difficult to explain in simple words. If you understood it, please leave me a comment. But what is my message? If that pain in the jaw started a few days ago and is accompanied mainly by intense discomfort, and you have nothing in your mouth to justify that pain, seek a cardiologist urgently, especially if it is accompanied by the other signs that I am going to tell you. Number 4, cold sweats and pallor. Don't ignore this. Up to 1% of people who had heart attacks felt this in the days before. You start sweating out of nowhere all of a sudden, but it's a different kind of sweating than when we're hot or exercising. It is sticky, cold. It is accompanied by a cold sensation on the forehead or all over the body and a sudden paleness of the skin, and it can be relieved in a few minutes. Spontaneously, it comes and goes. This can occur while at rest or eating something at any time, and usually happens several times before you get a heart attack. Number 5, back pain. Attention here, because during my medical life I have had many cases. Pain in the region of the scapula or lower neck, especially on the left side, may indicate either the onset of a heart attack or a problem in your aorta artery. Many people think of this as muscle pain, but you should be aware that the symptom does not improve or worsen with changes in position or massage. The aorta is one of the largest arteries we have. It carries blood to almost all our body, and sometimes diseases occur that weaken its wall and ulcers or tears are formed, which causes a very intense pain between the shoulder blades. The pain is very strong. It feels like something is going through you from the front of the chest to the back. But in the case of a threatened heart attack, the back pain is milder. It feels more like pressure. It usually lasts a few minutes and it seems to come and go. You should think it is the heart, especially if you did not have that symptom previously, if you do not find another cause for it, and when it is accompanied by shortness of breath, intense discomfort, or any of the other symptoms. Number 6, numbness of the left hand and arm. You notice that in the last month, your left arm and hand aches slightly, or you feel a numbness that occurs when walking a block or climbing stairs. This can be a warning symptom. Of course, this can occur for many other health problems, but if the symptom is new in your life, you have the risk factors I discussed and you can't find a logical explanation, find a cardiologist. And number 7, take care. With those sudden dizziness, fainting sensations, or low depression that come and go out of nowhere or occurring in the last few days when you try to make a physical effort, whether walking a block, climbing stairs, or even eating. Many of these patients undergo a cardiac catheterization, a study in which contrast is administered to see how the coronary arteries are, and it is observed that the obstruction is almost total. But now, how do you know if all that you had was a pre-infarction or an infarction? When a heart attack occurs, it means that a part of the heart muscle has died due to lack of blood. Most people feel a tightness in the chest or a feeling of depression that lasts for many minutes and does not pass. In addition, it may be accompanied by nausea, vomiting, malaise, shortness of breath, or any of the other symptoms I mentioned above, including a feeling of death and a cold sweat. The difference with pre-infarction is not the symptoms themselves, but the duration of these symptoms. In general, the pre-infarction or threat of infarction, which is the same thing, lasts a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and improves quickly when you calm down, sit down, or place that one dilator cup tablet under your tongue. So, if you have been feeling these symptoms, they can be an early warning that you have clogged arteries, but they can also be a warning that there is still much to do to save your heart and you are in time. By the same token, get help as soon as possible. Go to the emergency room, to an ambulance and a family member, because time that passes is heart that is lost. The first hour after the first symptom occurs is the most important. It is called the golden hour because the interventions made within these first 60 minutes are key to save the heart muscle, and also because it is within this first hour when most deaths due to cardiac arrest occur. Now, between men and women, is there any difference in the symptoms of heart attack? Generally, no. But women and older people are more likely to have a silent heart attack. This means without feeling chest pain. It is also very common for this group of people to have symptoms in other parts of the body, such as the stomach, back, or nausea, vomiting, or any of the symptoms I mentioned previously. But this can also occur especially if you have those risk factors that I mentioned. Now I want to open up a debate that is causing an increase in heart attacks in young people and in women. In the last 15 years, authorities reported an increase of more than 60% in hospitalizations for heart attacks in people 39 years old and younger. And an increase in women is also notable. Deaths also increased by more than 10%. And this is because the factors that cause atherosclerosis are becoming more and more frequent in young people. Modern life makes our lives much easier, or so we think. Fast food at the click of a button on the cell phone, series to marathon at any time of the day and in any place. But at the same time, every year we are more and more stressed, sleeping less and less because we have more and more electronic stimuli and worries. In addition, food is increasingly far from natural. Ultra-processed, excess of vegetable oils with a gigantic amount of omega-6. All this inflames us inside, causes fatty liver, accumulation of cholesterol, calcium, and inflammation in our arteries. And also causes the atheroma plaque that clogs them to rupture, causing heart attacks and arrhythmias. So one of the biggest culprits for this is our modern lifestyle. Now I want to know your opinion and your testimony. Do you know anyone who had any of these symptoms before a heart attack? What is your experience? I hope you liked the video and found it really useful. Share it, subscribe to our channel, and leave me your comment. This helps us a lot to keep growing. Bye-bye.